A lot of artists want to find their art style, their voice in the art world, but that doesn't always equate to consistent art. Should we focus on creating one specific style or expand into many? Today, I'm going to talk about simplified art versus detailed art, and why you may favor one over the other. Looking at these two time lapses, they are very different in terms of style. The one on the left is my comic, Sugar and Swords, which is drawn in a more simple and cartoony style. The other one is a one-off illustration in a more semi-realistic, maybe more anime-influenced style. The funny part is that I drew both of these around the same time. I think they are probably around 2 months apart. Sugar and Swords has a basic composition and very simple art, but because of this, I have created dozens and dozens of episodes. This one-off illustration, on the other hand, took more time to make compared to a single episode of Sugar and Swords. But for this illustration, I was more conscious of the values and light and rendered out the character in a lot more detail. I will say that one art style is not better than the other. Having a cartoony art style rather than a realistic one doesn't make you better or worse as an artist. That would be like comparing Mickey Mouse to the Mona Lisa. One might say the Mona Lisa is the more artsy one, but in the end, they both had an impact on the art world. When looking at these two art styles, they are different because each has their own purpose. Sugar and Swords is a comic, which means I need to draw a lot, and I mean a lot of panels, so having a simpler style is better. The illustration, on the other hand, will be by itself, so I made sure to put more time and effort into the values, perspective, and anatomy of the character. If you are unsure of how detailed you may want to draw, it might help to ask what the purpose of the picture is. It could be like a book color illustration, so people are going to look at it longer as they pick up the book or buy it. So more detail might help. Or it could be a single frame of animation. It's going to be viewed for less than a second, but the real picture is when the animation moves, so the amount of time you spend per frame may vary. My point is that there are more times when taking more time to work on a picture helps, and sometimes when it doesn't. Even though these drawings are different, I still use the same process for creating both pieces of art. Generally, I thumbnail and sketch things out, then I draw the line art, colors, shade, and then render it all out if necessary. What changes is how I treat the proportion of each character, as well as how detailed I want the lighting or design to be. So what if you want to have multiple art styles? Or what if you just want to focus in on one? The best way to improve your art, no matter what you choose, is to focus on improving your fundamentals. I know this is a pretty basic answer, but it really does help. No matter what kind of art you create, having a solid understanding of the basics will allow you to create the art you want. Even though Sugar and Swords has a very simplified anatomy, I still follow a set of proportions for each character to keep them consistent. What helped me create these proportions was studying realistic anatomy because it showed me where I could exaggerate. Not to mention how helpful it is to know how to draw a person with ease for crowds or action poses. Do you have trouble studying the basics of art because it seems boring to you? Honestly, I did at the beginning because all I wanted to draw was characters and nothing else. I like to find artists that inspire me and study just one aspect of it. Like how someone draws hair or how they draw eyes. But taking a little time each day, or even a little time each week, will help you in the long run. And just remember that whatever you study, you should try to apply it to the art you're currently working on. If you struggle to, draw hands, then I would recommend finding an artist you like and studying how they simplify the anatomy of a hand. Then it would make the process a lot easier. So how would you discover whether simpler art styles or more complex ones are right for you? For starters, ask yourself, what kind of art do you want to be good at? Do you want to make art for movies or TV shows? Do you want to sell physical paintings? Work for video game companies? Finding a goal for your art can help direct you to what kind of mediums and art styles you should focus on. Looking at the art in the time-lapse, the purpose of each one is different. You can have more than one goal and more than one art style. It's nothing that's set in stone. Being able to draw in different styles can also help you make you more of a jack of all trades, which could be good. But the downside is your attention is split, so you will improve slower in each style. Now, this isn't a bad thing since we all improve at different rates. It's just something to keep in mind. But what if you don't have a specific art goal? What if you just make art for the purpose of making art? Honestly, try to draw as many styles and mediums as possible. Draw cartoony, realistic, abstract, or any way you can think of. Giving yourself time to experiment will show you what kind of art you like and the kind of stuff that you don't. In the end, no matter what kind of art you're making, you're developing your own style. It's hard to see it, but everyone has their own style of creating. When I make comics, I stick to a specific art style. I pay attention to how thick the lines are, the color palettes I use, and the level of detail. Even though I started another comic in a different style, the same processes I use with one comic can be applied to another. So if you want to change up your art style or start something new, then you aren't abandoning every aspect of your art. There are many things that carry over to your future works. It may be how you pick colors and values, how you put together a composition, or even how you organize your work. I find this very reassuring to know as I create new comics that are created for different purposes or audiences. My point in this video is to not obsess over finding an art style. Focus on the fundamentals and, above all, what you love. If you want to draw animals, then draw animals. If you want to draw faces, then draw faces. And honestly, no matter what kind of art you create, all of it has one thing in common, and that's being made by you. I say these two drawings have different styles, but I see many similarities in them, and I'm sure many others would recognize them as well, that they were both created by me. Instead of focusing on creating one ultimate art style, I give myself time to experiment, like in this one-off illustration, and time to remain consistent, like in my comics. An art style is something that will come in time, or rather, I believe it's something that you already have today, and just need time to recognize it. That's everything I wanted to say for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed listening to it. And let me know in the comments your opinions on art style. Do you guys have more than one art style? Are you currently experimenting, looking for new stuff? Just let me know. So with that, I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye!